questions. So we'll start with the easy part, community control over policing surveillance. CCOPS is an acronym you've probably seen on social media and elsewhere. It was a model created by the ACLU of Northern California in November of 2014. ACLU National later made a more robust and, in my opinion, over-lawyered vetting framework later in 2016. But essentially, what the ACLU tried to do is turn the sort of traditional procurement and policy writing paradigm on its head. So previously, staff just shows up, asks the city council for basically rubber stamp approval to go get a piece of surveillance technology. They unilaterally write their own use policy. And yeah, okay, it gets publicly approved, but the public never really has a meaningful bite at the apple. I'm not sure what Portland's notice provision is. Here in California, we have the Brown Act 72 hours. They'll post something on the agenda on Friday afternoon. Everybody votes on Tuesdays, city, county, and state. We all vote on Tuesdays for some traditional reason. Nobody has time over the weekend to meet with elected officials. They're not available. You can't build a coalition. You can't educate people. It doesn't work. It's not a friction point. It's not meaningful oversight. So what the ACLU created was, let's force everything out into the open. No more non-disclosure agreements. You can't get like private donations, police foundation money to hide from city council scrutiny. If you want to use or acquire any piece of surveillance technology, you have to come through this vetting framework. Upfront, it requires an impact analysis. You got to weigh the pros and cons. Hopefully you have maybe data, a track record from other jurisdictions. You can provide some real world use case studies. And ideally, any red or even yellow flags that you identify during your impact assessment, you mitigate those in your draft use policy. They get reviewed at the same time. Ideally, also, again, sorry to use that word again, you would have a privacy commission of subject matter experts doing the vetting. So I'll just say right now, this is one of the flaws, I think, in the original model. It does not have an oversight body in the framework. And I believe this is a refinement to the model that needs to happen. We don't work on these projects anymore unless there is a civilian oversight body as part of the framework. But so it goes through this vetting process, generally upfront, traditionally it has been approved by the city council, but it's not just an approve and forget it. Every year, you essentially have to come back for a 1-year approval, and that's the annual report. You have to demonstrate how you used it. What are some crime statistics that help weigh us the pros and cons? Did you stay within your budget or exceed your budget? Do we need policy tweaks? But you have to meet that same standard again every single year, that the benefits of use outweigh the cost. And the cost is both to civil liberties and to the taxpayer. Some of this stuff, from a privacy perspective, is a little bit more benign. The harm is pretty remote, but it's super expensive. And when it doesn't lead to, a deterrent effect or maybe an arrest, or there's, you didn't find at-risk people, whatever your public safety metrics are, then it's just not justified on a cost basis either. And a lot of this technology, in my opinion, is just pure snake oil. It just doesn't do what it says on the label. It doesn't work. And if there's a civil liberties impact greater than 0 and a cost, like, why bother using this? That's just not good government. So that's it in a nutshell, is that you do this upfront analysis. You have to come back every year and demonstrate how you used it. On paper, Oakland's the greatest jurisdiction in the world. We have very tight policies. We worked well with staff up until this year when things kind of fell off the rails. Part of the problems in this model is that we have to take things at face value. As civilians, non-sworn, we don't get access to raw confidential criminal databases, nor should we. I personally also just don't want that liability. But we discovered that the Oakland Police Department was just making up numbers. They weren't telling us the truth during some of these annual reporting reviews. And it's resulted in some litigation, which is also kind of just due to public record stuff, which is a little bit separate from the surveillance ordinance. But basically, it's created this distrust. we don't believe in the data, what they're providing us. And I suspect a lot of these concerns are in every other jurisdiction. OPD definitely is a problematic, long, troubled department, but so are many. And I suspect if there were privacy commissions in these other jurisdictions, we would be noticing a lot of these problems. We just don't have that vigilant presence. One of the solutions to those problems, which we're going to be identifying in a forthcoming analysis, is to have an inspector general. Most police commissions have them nowadays. And so you have a licensed background person that could look at that data and audit it and make sure we're getting accurate, truthful information. And that would be one, kind of low-hanging fruit solution to fixing some of these problems. We have 7 of these jurisdictions in the Bay Area. I've worked on all 7 of them in some fashion. We're presently consulting with San Diego. We're in meet and confer with labor unions right now, but they're going to do what Oakland's doing, is the full-blown CCOPS ordinance with a privacy commission. They're the 8th largest city in the country, and not like the radical East Bay. So it will be, I think, a really big game changer to show people this model is scalable. It's pragmatic. It does create friction points where there's a privacy commission. I don't think it's really doing what it's supposed to do in some of these other jurisdictions, because the problems that existed before this ordinance, lay people don't have enough time. They don't have the subject matter expertise. The city council members or county board of supervisors, they also don't have subject matter expertise or capacity. So you need that reviewing body in the middle. And that's, I've talked to Hector about this for a couple of years. And so I really do hope Portland goes that route like we've done in Oakland.